really good to let everyone know everything that we've been doing and answer the questions that you guys have. All right, so I guess first and foremost, definitely looking forward to the mainnet. The mainnet version 1 is still set to be released on March 28th. So this is going to be really just the first version of the Paribus platform. It will be essentially the traditional crypto assets. So as of right now, we have wrapped Bitcoin, ETH, USDT, and USDC. So that will be our main assets that we will be using on the platform. Unfortunately, we will not be using ADA initially, at least, because we don't have the bridge capabilities ready to go for that. But as soon as that does become available, we will be able to add that to the list, and more tokens will be added as we go as well. Additional announcements in regards to specifics on the timing, and that will be coming out in the next couple of days. So just keep a lookout for that. And let's see what else here. Oh yeah, the other aspect that I wanted to mention that will be coming out in the details is the PBX rewards. So on top of the dynamic interest rate rewards that will be received, we will also be giving out PBX rewards for the borrowers. So be on the lookout for those details when they come out. All right, so the next item that I wanted to cover was in regards to the KuCoin emails that were sent out to US customers. And basically that was, I just want to give you guys a little bit of a heads up and a bit of information on why that happened and what we're going to do going forward. So those went out basically, let's see, so that was, I guess, just a couple days ago. Oh, just 1 second, sorry. Apologize for that. So those emails went out just a few days ago, and that was essentially letting US customers know that KuCoin wouldn't be tradable for US customers on March 28th. And the reason for that was we recently got into an agreement with GSR. GSR has been doing our market making for a little while now. And it was just part of their legal agreement that this was essentially the part of the standards of how they operate with companies. We are going to actually try to reverse this and stop GSR's participation with KuCoin in particular. So we'll give you guys more updates when we have that available. All right. And then the next section I wanted to cover was just in regards to the marketing. So we've been, we definitely appreciate all of the community involvement, especially from the ambassadors. And we want to just, let everyone know that we're having some really good things planned for the articles, and some big announcements will be coming out soon. Sorry, just 1 second here, guys. Apologize.
Let me get involved while Wilson does what he needs to. So in regards to the marketing efforts, so we have been aligning ourselves with our partners. So we will have a few high-profile articles coming out on a few crypto outlets that have high traffic. So we should get some eyeballs on Paribus mainnet V1. Aside from that, we have a live AMA session with Amerigo. Amerigo is the guys that work with ILG closely. I'll be on that podcast, so it'll be a live one. So you could join that and ask your questions if you wish, or just come in and listen. We'll release the details on Amerigo podcast, live podcast when it happens. So aside from that, we obviously work very closely with Plato. Plato is our main advisor. They actually are an advisor to Paribus as well, and they've been tinkering things behind the scenes for us to appear on many high-profile outlets like Bloomberg, and a few other more Web2 related traditional news outlets rather than sort of Web3, because we do want to hit that market as much as possible as well. So Plato will be helping us on that. Of course, we'll share the links with the community once they go out to the public. So that's some of our plans to get to make as much as noise as possible. Hopefully, Bitcoin and the entire crypto market in general doesn't turn upside down. You know how it's been quite volatile recently, so that we can release our mainnet V1 without any hiccups in terms of market sentiment, etc. But regardless, we're ready from tech side, from contract side. So whatever happens, we should be going live, unless the entire thing just collapses, which is obviously not likely. Okay, so moving on from the marketing efforts, we'll go into the next section, which is just going to be a quick development update. We do try to give development updates within the community as much as possible. So on the audit side, I will start off, and then Simon will take over the future development updates, the future features. So on the audit side, it's been a bumpy road because, as I mentioned in the chat, there was a problem with the coverage tool. So we had to go back and forth. We had to prove that the tool itself was buggy, which we have, and Hacken was receptive. We actually had to have a call session with Hacken, the entire team, to provide some feedback on their methodology, because some of the things in the initial report didn't really make sense to us, and we relayed that and they agreed to it. So due to this back and forth conversation, and just due to the backlog that Hacken has, it took way longer than it should have. But the good result is we have had a good score and we feel safe to go live. So long story short, we're good. Okay, Simon, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. You can hear me?
Cool. Yeah. Do you want to give
Perfect.
the update on the next set of things?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, nice to meet all of you guys again. It's been some time. So on the development side, obviously behind the scene, we work a lot on the NFT side of things. We are making good progress on the NFT valuation, integrating third-party partners of ours as well. So that all seems to be quite good. Then on the other side, we are continuing developing on our governance app, which is making good progress. We had already some sessions with our developers where they showed us how the product works and the UI. So that was already very, very nice. Overall, I think you guys will enjoy the feel and touch of the platform. Yeah, so I think that's the major updates, and then obviously over the last weeks we had to make improvements to our code related to the audit. So as Dennis mentioned, that was a bit of a challenge there. However, we did that. So yeah, I think we are good to go from a tech side for the launch.
Perfect. And then another quick update. So as you guys know, we have been working on Paribus Pro, which is basically a derived version of the Paribus MVP or mainnet V1. The whole and included the NFT side. So the whole concept around Paribus Pro is it's basically Paribus, but with KYC and AML attachments. So to enter Paribus Pro, you have to do KYC and AML, and then once you do, you can borrow and lend your funds to everybody else who's also KYC. This way, we're trying to hit that cross section with institutions who may be interested in investing into DeFi protocols. So this is something that we've been working on behind the scenes. And aside from that, one of the things that we've been looking and researching into is real world assets. We believe there is a there is a good chance that real world assets and NFTs will become a thing in the near future within the next 6 to 12 months. And we want to sort of lead that side of things as well. So when I say real world assets, I mean, for example, if you have a business and you have a bunch of invoices that you know are going to be paid, why can you not take those invoices, bring it on chain, turn them into an NFT? Therefore, they have a value and borrow against them if you need the cash immediately instead of waiting for the invoice to be fulfilled and paid, etc. So this is something that we're sort of looking into, but this will be, of course, part of Paribus Pro. If we are to proceed with it, it does have its challenges, but I think it makes Paribus a lot more future-proof and allows us to sort of truly integrate Web3 into the real world that there is so much demand for. So that's essentially the updates for today. It's not too heavy. We have been working hard behind the scenes, so it's not like we haven't done much, but it's just been very busy for us. Apart from these, I guess the next set of things that I will do is now start taking questions. So I see one request at the moment, but do send in your requests if you want to ask questions. So I will take the first request from Henry Showman. Okay. It's just connecting. Okay, maybe he's having a bit of issue. So I'll connect Manny in the meantime. Manny, can you hear us? I think you should be able to speak now.
Oh, I get to go first?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
go ahead.
I thought there was someone in front of me. Hey, guys. I had a few questions. I'll just ask them just as we go. So the mainstream articles that you spoke about as far as being published with the publications that you mentioned, are these going to be like newswire style articles or will they be like featured articles, like original content?
So some of them, sorry.
Yeah, go
Wilson,
ahead.
did you want to say something? Yeah,
You can
go
take
ahead, Wilson.
Okay, sure. So, yeah, it will be original content for all those articles, and we'll be getting those out to some pretty well-known sources, and that will be coming out probably this coming week.
Okay, cool. And I wanted to talk about GSR a little bit. That news kind of popped up
Sure.
on us out of nowhere almost. How did that relationship materialize? If that did happen, or is this just they're a service provider and you needed their services, and then who encouraged that decision?
Well, they're definitely one of the best at the services that they offer, and they've been highly recommended to us to assist us in the goals that we were hoping to achieve. So that is why we were connected with them originally. And in regards to the U.S. trading emails that went out, that was a little bit of a I could probably say a miscommunication in how that was going to be handled, and we are looking for ways to remedy that going forward, and definitely looking forward to hopefully stopping it before that 28th date that they sent out, and in which case it would just be business as usual. But maybe Dennis can give some more clarity on that.
Okay, yeah, that was actually my question.
Yeah. What did you want to know, man? Exactly?
He actually, it was my next question, so it's pretty good. But my question was like, did you guys know that this was a part of maybe the contract if you guys have one of those, or was it just you didn't realize it was going to affect KuCoin trading, and what benefit is that to GSR? Is it a way to just kind of so that they can actually control the bottom price? Is that what that's about?
So the whole KuCoin situation came about sort of unexpectedly. So in the initial contract, we didn't have such terms and clauses where would sort of geofence US investors, etc. And in general, they don't have such clause, but it depends totally on the exchange itself as well. I believe to a certain extent, because for example, the gate side is completely fine. They don't need such geofencing, but on KuCoin side, I'm assuming this is because of the way KuCoin is set up. They needed this request. So the request was made, but it was quickly realized that it doesn't really benefit the project. So we decided to revert the decision. We have already spoken to KuCoin, so we're expecting a revert in the geofence as soon as possible. We, of course, get legal advice from our legal advisory, and we should be all right. So we don't, Paribus itself doesn't have any particular issues. It's more of sort of tying in the GSR and KuCoin and making sure things are well. And the only way that can work is basically GSR is going to stay out of KuCoin and keep our order books deep liquidity with all other exchanges. So that's the situation. GSR doesn't do a lot for us in terms of obviously it doesn't do anything for us in terms of price action because they were not trying to manipulate the price in any way. What GSI is doing is trying to keep a deep liquidity in the order book so that we do not have these wild swings, which is obviously for the better of everyone. So that's basically how we work with GSR and why we brought them in, because going forward, we believe as the token becomes a lot more in demand, these volatile swings will be harmful for the project and for the token holders themselves.
Okay. Have you guys announced, or will there be announcements on what exchanges will be onboarded with this GSR deal?
Any exchange that we go on, as per our discussion, is they can support basically from tier 1 to tier 3 exchanges. So any of those exchanges there, they can support it. Of course, some will be subject to geofencing, like KuCoin, but they have extensive capability to support a large number of exchanges.
Okay, so they kind of just follow you wherever you decide to do an exchange deal with. Okay, my understanding was they kind of run with it and determine what exchanges are going to get it onboarded. So they're just liquidity.
Yeah, exactly. So they basically follow us. We don't, and they don't have the sort of authority to dictate which exchanges we should go on, which we should not go on. It's more the other way around.
Okay, and with that being said, are you guys, especially after this whole KuCoin thing, are you guys devising like a plan on which exchanges you guys do go to, given the issues with GSR and American traders?
Yeah, I mean, we always have a plan for exchanges, but the majority of our plans are sort of on hold because of the fact that the protocol code is being developed solely by us as the Paribus founders or the Paribus team. Because a lot of these exchanges require that first of all, the code has to be open sourced, which we're going to anyway, and we need external contribution, which means external developers coming and touching the code base, creating PRs, etc. That way, it becomes less of an issue from legal perspective to list on any tier 1, tier 2 exchanges because it's not a centralized team that's completely doing everything, but it's more of a decentralized DAO kind of environment, which with that status, then you're basically open to list on a lot more exchanges than you would be.
Okay, cool. Thank you for answering those questions. I have some more, but I'll ask them later.
Okay, I will go with PBX Lefebvre. I'm just not going to be able to pronounce that, but yeah, Martoscan, I think that's Martoscan, no? Go ahead. You're just connected. So yeah, you should be able to ask your questions now. lot of governance power to direct the platform, and that's always been our intention because we want to actually use PBX to leverage it so that we can transition and sort of phase out as the co-founder team. And if you have enough enough PBX staked, then you could direct the platform overall to say, let's integrate with this chain, let's start supporting these assets, let's start supporting these NFT collections, and so on. So the real main power of PBX is its governance powers and the actual sort of fee redistribution model that comes with that governance model, where the more you hold, the more you earn as a shareholder of the Paribus protocol overall.
This is the reason why I asked, because there's a lot of confusion between PBX and VPBX, and people don't understand exactly how they will earn more PBX. If, for example, for staking, they will get VPBX, and how they can convert it to money, those VPBX or the PBX, if the main utility will be in the DAO. And this is the reason why I ask if you think you need to clarify the difference between VPBX and PBX in a more clear way, or I don't know, because from what I saw in the discussion isn't very clear what staking will be and how they will earn PBX or VPBX.
So we plan to release full-fledged details on the PBX governance module once we know testing is done and everything is ready. But to briefly give you an overview, the PBX token itself has no monetary value. The only thing that you could do with it is vote. The more VPBX you hold, the more voting power you hold. So you could use all those VPBX tokens to say yes or no to a proposal that may be raised. To gain VPBX, you have to lock PBX into our staking smart contracts. So you would lock X amount of PBX. You would choose a time period, how long you want to lock it for. And based on the amount and the time period, you will be given back. You'll be returned VPBX balance, which will be in your wallet, and you could use that balance to start now voting for stuff. And every time you vote, every time you interact with the governance portal, you are redistributed some rewards because you're actually taking care of the platform and you're actually taking part in the governance. And there is a formula where it works out depending on your lock period and your VPBX balance, how much APY you get back, which the APY is always payable in PBX tokens. But eventually we will release the whole details and how it's going to work from sort of step 1 to step 10, locking PBX, voting, and then getting something back in return, which is more PBX. We'll release the fine details in a document or in a sort of blog post when we're closer to release.
Okay, I think it's fine for now. So it will be a dynamic model, and how about the percent we will decide for locking the PBX? I mean, higher percent will mean higher risk and something like that?
You mean the returns, right? The return percentage.
Yeah, the returns.
Yeah, the returns would not be extremely high because obviously we want to keep inflation at a certain level. We don't want to release too many tokens too aggressively to the market. So the returns will sit anywhere between 20% to 120%, depending on your PBX balance lockup and how long you lock up for. We do want to do a linear decreasing release model, but we still need to think around that. The reason why I want to do linear decreasing rather than increasing is because we think if we have generous APYs initially, it will be more of an incentive for people to come in and start locking the tokens as soon as possible, rather than sort of waiting for it. Because as time fades out, that APY starts to drop because more and more people enter the pool, etc. So and we want our goal with PBX is obviously to get governance going, to direct the platform, but also hopefully take some of the circulation supply out of circulation and lock into our staking contract. So again, it's variable rates, but details will be released in the paper again.
Yeah, that sounds good. Just one suggestion from my side. Uh, every time when you release information about this or something else, try to make also a diagram so it will be more easy for us to understand how everything is connected between. And
Sure.
you mentioned regarding the DAO. I remember the anti-whale mechanism you talked about. Um, how do you plan to protect from, for example, opening more wallets can be fooled by, for example, a big whale can hold Paribus in hundreds of wallets, or it will be an account on the platform, or how do you plan to protect the? Because even in the platform you can make lots of accounts with different wallets, I guess. Have you think
Yeah.
about this?
Yeah. So in regards to that point, that's why we brought in the quadratic voting mechanism. So yes, a whale can come along with a, let's say, I don't know, 500 million tokens, and he splits that amongst 5 different wallets. The fact that he split it amongst 5 different wallets doesn't really mean much, because he will still be getting the same sort of return on each wallet if he was to do it separately, or if he was to do it all in one wallet in terms of returns. But in terms of voting power, quadratic voting will help prevent whales manipulate the governance side of things, because regardless of how much tokens you hold, it becomes linearly, it becomes exponentially more expensive for you to pass a vote
Yeah,
if
I
that
know this.
vote has a lot of.
This is the reason why I ask, because I know
So
it's progressive, but for example, this is why I ask, can't be fooled. For example, owning 50 wallets and voting from which wallet will mean you have less PBX, so you will be less affected by cutting your power vote. Do you know what I mean?
yes,
So do you
well,
have a
this is
measure
this is
against this or not yet?
no, not really, because I mean there is only so much that we could do. That's why we introduced quadratic voting. That was the whole intention behind it. But at the end of the day, if a whale comes along and he wants to split his tokens amongst 10, 20 wallets, then I mean it's an openness, permissionless blockchain and a protocol. There's only so much that you could do to sort of make things a bit more fair. And I think we've done the most we can by adding that complexity of quadratic voting.
Okay, I understand. Um, it was a lot of discussion about the long-term regulation plans, and how does Paribus plan to protect its future long-term from overzealous regulation in the light of increasing regulatory pressure towards crypto projects?
So for regulations, we always stay close to our legal advisory. That based on the input that they give us, we will change things if we need to in terms of corporation structure, etc. But our main goal is to become a DAO. The sooner we can become a DAO, the less likely that we can be we can be facing, I don't know, like the likes of SEC, etc. Although we are not US based, we do not sort of have any ties with the US jurisdictions. It's a bit of a weird world that we are in right now with legal changes. So it really depends on how things move forward. But from the current layout of things, we are pretty safe, and we want to even become sort of safer by transition to DAO as soon as possible.
I understand. Thanks. Do you have a defined list of blockchains where Paribus will be present beside Cardano and Ethereum? And which other chains will Paribus be on this year? Can we expect other chain besides Cardano after Arbitrum?
Yeah. So it all depends on the liquidity, but our plan is always to sort of live on where there is demand for DeFi services, or there is enough NFT liquidity. So one of the chains that we're looking at next is probably going to be Polygon, because of the usage levels that it has both on DeFi side and NFT side. Of course, Arbitrum is one. Optimism, we are keeping an eye on, because we like the chain and what they've been doing. And aside from that, there's a couple of new chains that have a lot of hype around them, like Aptos and Sui. But we just have to keep a track on them. But for now, I would say Polygon is the most likely candidate for the year.
Nice. I just remember something what Denise said, and was mentioning something about nodes and the mining system, and I was curious, what's that about?
Okay, so this is quite early, but there is some work that I'm doing
Just a
with
quick hint,
Simon
please.
around. So as you guys know, we built this off-chain NFT valuation mechanism. And the whole idea that is we want to basically take that off-chain component and decentralize it. And one way to do it is we're looking for a way to possibly allow people to run this as a client on their machine so that it's a decentralized API. And every time you serve data from it, you will be rewarded in PBX. But of course, this is still in research phase. That's why I kind of hinted at it, but it's still early in the works, and we want to decentralize that component as much as we can.
Sounds good. I asked this because I remember a few months ago I asked about nodes, and the answer was there will be no nodes, and I'm glad to see that you're looking on to this option for Paribus. Look, because I'm so active on the community, there was few guys that asked what's the relationship between Paribus and Probinex, because you have the same token, and aren't you afraid because people can make a confusion at some point if, for example, the other project will have problem, our PBX will be affected or something like that, or what can be done to avoid this confusion, and how so
Yeah.
we have the same token and.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those Web3 things is very unfortunate. We obviously were the first PBX ticker, but they came after. We have no ties, we have no connection. I don't even know what the project does, Probinex, to be honest.
In my opinion, it's
But
bad because on their website say, let's go to the moon and promise like big wins and something like that, and looks like,
okay.
you know what I mean, you know?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
for me, it doesn't sound good. I think they are from Poland or from something like that. And maybe you should take a look and see what can be done in that matter or direction. Or it is maybe
Yeah.
nothing to be done because they have the same token and you have been the first. I think that should be taken in consideration from the legal department to check.
Based on that front, actually, there's a quick update. The last time I checked, the exchange Probit, or how they are called, that actually listed this project, renamed them on their exchange itself. So they're not anymore as PBX.
I understand. That's good. That's good. Thanks for clarification.
Well, I guess our success, hopefully with our plans in the future and traction, will sort of fix this issue on its own, because obviously when you become the successful project that carries a certain ticker, everybody associates it with that project rather than anything else, even if there are like 10 PBXs out there.
Yeah, I just wanted to be more clear for everybody that there is no relation between these two projects.
Yeah,
and
there's
that's
no
it.
relations
Yeah.
at all.
From my side, I have two more points to touch. Sorry to have so many questions. Then I will go back to the party. What I would love to learn is to learn more about the artificial intelligence valuation tool, because from what I understand, it will be available with the NFT accepted as collateralized in Q2 or Q3. And with the AI evaluation tool will be based only on machine learning algorithms, and how it will be trained to provide accurate valuation. Also, will the app be available for all types of NFTs or only for certain categories such as art or collectibles? Because there are a huge market, for example, for music and more. And how will Paribus monetize the use of its AI evaluation tool and API?
So we had clarified this point sometime before. We are not developing the AI data model itself. We are plugging into existing AI models. So we have identified 5 or 6 of them, and we are plugging into them. and we're bringing in that data and making use of that. The reason why we're not developing the AI data model itself, because it's, as people may know, AI is not a cheap thing to develop, especially when you need to train your data over terabytes and terabytes of data. I mean, I was just reading an article the other day that to get to a level where OpenAI's data model is, you need to be spending around $500 million on cloud computing costs because of how much computation power it requires and how much cloud servers you need to hire. So obviously we're not in a position to do such things, nor do we have AI data scientists or AI engineers yet. We do have our plans to, as the platform grows and generates fees, and some of it goes back to our treasury, we do have plans to expand the team to hire data scientists and AI engineers to identify trends that we can build in-house and combine it with our existing partners. So currently, we are not building an AI model ourselves.
Yeah, for me now it's super clear from the answer. My confusion was because on the main chat was replied like we develop our own AI tool, but didn't provide the detail. And I was curious, how can you do such a thing? Because I know it's a huge work behind the scene. And what you
Yeah.
explain now makes a lot of sense. And for me it's super clear, and it's a very good answer. And basically you will use more third parties that will be interconnected, and after that you will provide an API that will use your own tool, right?
Yeah. So think of it like the data comes from our third parties. What we're developing is the Oracle side of things. So once we consume the data, we make certain adjustments and tweaks to it, and then we make that data available as an Oracle off-chain. And now we're developing the mechanism where how do we get that off-chain price in the most cheapest manner possible on-chain? Of course, this cost is not much when you think about Arbitrum, Polygon, etc. But when you think about Ethereum, which is obviously where majority of the NFT liquidity is, it becomes an issue. So we're trying to resolve this issue and this bottleneck. And once we do, we release it, and we actually want to open it up to other B2B to use it. But to use it, you need to pay in PBX, for example, as a B2B client.
Okay, guys, I have to go back. I have 11 months boy. He's crying. I have to go back. My last question was about the Paribus Pro. I know you touched the base at the beginning, but I just wanted to know more details about the presence in metaverse and some basic details like how it will work, how is this will bring value for the project, for example, being in the metaverse. Maybe some examples or any detail that can be made public is welcome at this stage. I will switch the mic off and I will go inside and I will listen and thanks so much for your questions and answering all the questions.
Thank you. Thanks for your question. So in regards to metaverse, we already have a metaverse 3D model designed for our headquarters. Our initial metaverse headquarter was designed for Pavia, Pavia metaverse. Pavia is still in development, so it's not ready for it. But we do want to offer this service of metaverse headquarters wherever we can. The whole idea is that as people move into metaverse to entertain themselves or interact with one another, if we have a headquarter there, for example, you could go in there, walk in, and our headquarter would actually be at a certain level connected to our smart contracts, which is a Paribus protocol contracts. And you can basically click a few metaverse, click a few buttons within this headquarters, and then try to take out a loan within the metaverse, obviously with pop-up transactions, etc., being approved. But the whole idea is sort of gamification of the whole process. So rather than coming to Paribus protocol, connecting your wallet, clicking a few buttons, you would go into the metaverse, go into our HQ, click a few buttons, and it's as if you're in that building and taking out a loan. That's the idea that we have with metaverse HQs. Okay, let's see. We have a few more questions. I will give the floor to Zodai. It's just saying it's connected. Manny, I see your hands up, so you're already a speaker. You go ahead.
Yeah, I had just some follow-up stuff for the talk around the DAO and governance. So the whale defense thing and discussion. Well, me personally, I've never really been like fully sold on DAOs, just because my understanding and dealing with like municipalities in the U.S. and how pure democracies are just a disaster. Um, so I actually have been, diving in different communities, especially ones that are focused around DAO voting and things like that, just to see what works best and what feels the most honest to me. I've come across liking the model where you can do temperature checks on like a forum, so the community gets to kind of argue and debate things, and then the person that wants to wager and pay for a proposal, you would then, for example, you would take, 1,000 or 10,000 PBX tokens, and you would put up the proposal, and you would have to put your money where your mouth is if you truly believe in this thing. And it kind of goes through like the discussion phase, and then the on chain proposal, and then people would vote, and then the talk around whales. What if they split their tokens up across these different wallets? And my thoughts on that is, what if there were like a group created, like a whale watch community that was voted on in a separate proposal, and these people would kind of talk about things like that, and would come up with plans to say like monitor wallets. So if you did a vote, you would take the top voters, the people that had the most tokens, and you would kind of go through that and kind of watch and see where those tokens go, and possibly identify people that are trying to manipulate the platform, and decide on punishments or blacklisting or whatever you wanted to do. And another There's just all kinds of ways you can go to deal with whales, but a lot of teams don't want to put that investment into it. So I think the idea of like creating like a community group that would kind of do that work might be a way around that. So I was thinking, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, to be honest, the idea is good, but it does require extensive human resources,
Yeah.
and a bit of a budget. So I think it's actually, the whole idea is actually a good candidate for a proposal itself. So once the governance system is out, I would actually push you to create a proposal as such, and we can maybe supply a certain amount of PBX as a compensation for the people who's going to partake in this proposal to do whale watching. And then maybe we can spin this off. But I do like the idea. I think it has its benefits. It's just the team, the core team of Paribus. We're quite full with our hands, and we really don't have much of a bandwidth left. So I would like to
understood.
get the community involved, to carry out such tasks as much as possible.
Okay. My other question is around like, people are really interested in this Cardano native app, but I understand, if there's no liquidity there, there's not a lot of interest there. You'd probably be better served going to places, like Polygon, or maybe even Algorand. It might be an option through Cometa A1. Um, what what are you going to do, or do you have any plans as far as where your tokens are, any kind of bridging? So like a CNT token bridge to ERC20. Do you have any plans for that?
Yeah. So
Actually, yeah,
yeah, go
just
ahead.
let me
Sorry.
real quick. Actually, on that front, we got an update today from one of our partners we are working with, that next week they should start with a working bridge for exactly Cardano to Ethereum. So from next week onwards, we are looking more into that together with our partner, and then hopefully we should have the bridge up soon for that part.
Okay. Would it be bi-directional or just a one way?
No, bi-directional should be.
Okay. I also had a question around the whole, Coinbase custody thing. How does that play into the platform in the MVP stage? Is this something that's completely separate? This something that Coinbase decided to do, or did you have to like apply for that?
We did not apply. Coinbase picked it up on their own code. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't something that we went to Coinbase and asked. They sort of took the initiative and did it.
Oh, okay. So they heard about you guys and kind of said, "Hey, we want to be involved in the storage
Yeah.
of this asset." Okay. Would that benefit Paribus Pro any?
Yeah, it actually may. Obviously, Coinbase is sort of legally in a good place, although they got trolled by the SEC yesterday.
Yeah.
But overall, they are in a good place legally. So, and with what we're trying to do with Paribus Pro, I think it aligns the two firms well. So, yeah, I think it will be quite beneficial.
Okay, cool. And just to follow up to that one, the whole thing with the SEC trolling and sending these letters out, the old way of thinking about DAOs was, if we're a DAO, we're separate, we're good to go, and then we're not registered in America, so we've got another layer of protection. Recently is, for the last 3 months, we've kind of discovered that the SEC just doesn't care. They don't care if you're registered as in another country or operating in another country. They will go to that country and still try to attack, projects. How do you guys feel about that? And do you have any defense for it if that were to happen?
Well, my feelings are quite clear. I mean, I don't like the way SEC is carrying out its business. I understand what SEC stands for and what it's trying to do, protect investors, etc., etc. But it's becoming more of a like a proxy war with crypto through the SEC, and they try to. To me, it feels like they have become the foot soldiers of the Web2 world, if that even makes sense, because they continuously attacking projects, even though projects are asking for legal advice, legal clarity. Nothing's really been done. Instead, you see people getting sued left and right, projects being shut down, or founders are being arrested for writing code. So it's become something else. And I don't want to say too much, but my position is clear. I don't like the way things are going. In terms of our legal protections, we try to get advice from our legal advisor as much as possible. Obviously, whenever something that looks worrying to us, we will go and ask the main legal advisory. At the moment, we are set up as an LLC. Nothing to do with the US jurisdictions, completely extended away from it. We have not sold anything to US citizens during our seed rounds or IDO, at least not intentionally. We did state warnings that if you are a state person, etc., US person, you shouldn't really partake in the initial sale. And we try to, do our best as much as we can within the boundaries that we have. But it's a hard act because we have to balance. I mean, the nature of blockchain and Paribus protocol is that it's open, this is permissionless. And there's only so much that you could do to sort of gate that protocol and its token. And we're doing the most we can. So that's well, I would say. I don't know what Simon or Wilson want to say or add to that.
Okay, good response. I don't know if you've paid attention to Gary Gensler, like through his career, but he did a series of lectures at I think it was like MIT or something, on blockchain technology, and I religiously, religiously gone through that content and consumed as much of it as I could, just because I was interested in blockchain at that time. But there was a video in that series where he got really candid, and I was actually shocked that he said the things in that video, where he actually kind of played the devil's advocate and started to speak what he would do if he was like a lobbyist or a consultant for the central banks and welcoming in these new blockchain companies. how he would basically try to extort them and get them to sell off parts of their company to the central banks in order to open the gates for them to come in and operate. And I guess the university took that particular video and deleted it. So if you go through the series that he has with that school, there's a volume missing, and the missing volume has that speech in it. I don't know if you guys have watched that or anything, but
No, I
it's
haven't.
scary.
I haven't seen it, but I mean, I'm not surprised, to be honest. I mean, nothing surprised me nowadays. People go back on their word. People openly relay their intentions and how they should go about sort of cornering businesses or doing this, doing that for the benefit of the few or for the benefit of the 1%.
Yeah.
So nothing really surprises me in this current climate, which is why we must continue to build protocols such as Paribus, and we must continue to sort of support ecosystems like obviously the mother of all Bitcoin to try to break from these narratives and try to break from these. So I mean, I really don't want to say too much, but my
Yeah.
position is clear. So yeah.
The reason why I brought that up is to support, another position that I have is the way you guys are building. Like, it almost doesn't benefit a project or Paribus if you guys just see this monumental overnight success and everything just starts launching into orbit, because you'll get your head cut off if that happens. So I feel like
Exactly.
it's just like motivation for you guys to just stay the course, be steady, build things, the right way. Don't worry about anybody else's bags or the community's opinions really too much anyways. And just go at your pace. There's no rush.
Yeah, I agree, and I appreciate that. I mean, to be honest, if we blew up to $1 billion project overnight, I would actually be worried and not be able to sleep that night because of
Yeah,
what SEC and what the others around the world could potentially do.
exactly.
Because we've seen it happen. And so, yeah, I think steady and slow DAO, then from DAO to completely open this permissionless system where there is no centralized team, there are no founders, is the way to go. So, yeah.
All right, thank you for answering my questions. I'll put
Thanks
down.
for the questions. Okay, we've got a few more. I will go with Doc Mimi 6. You've been requested for some time now, so you should be good to go in a bit. And then we have the 3 more people waiting. Okay, go ahead. You should be able to talk now.
Thank you for giving me the platform to speak. Yeah, I love what Paribus is doing. I love your work. I must commend you for your transparency and all that. So my only question is, where is Paribus located? Is there like a physical location? Because I heard you said you're not located in America, in the US. So do you like have like a location?
We don't have physical office. No, we are decentralized. So we have team members in pretty much everywhere. I mean, Europe, Asia, and just developers
Okay.
scattered around the globe. But we don't have physical offices.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much. That's all.
No problem. Okay, I will take Jessica Dominic next. Okay, Jessica, you should be able to ask your questions now.
Hey, Jessica, you're on mute if you're trying to speak. Okay, maybe let's go to the next speaker for now.
Okay, I will take, let's try Dodai Meta again. Seems to be trouble with that one as well. Let's try Prince Brown. Dodai, I did give you the approval to speak, but it just says connecting, so I'm not sure if there's a problem with Twitter or something. But Prince Brown can ask the questions now. You should be able to.
Okay. Yeah, I've been listening to all that. It's in an interesting space. I have just a simple question to ask. We could actually see that Paribus is actually building for Cardano ecosystem. But why are we utilizing Ethereum? I think I've been having some conflicting thoughts.
So
Sure.
we build
Yeah.
it. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Dennis.
Yeah. So we're building for Cardano and for other chains. We are basically chain agnostic. We are backed by IOG and C Fund indirectly, and IOG indirectly through C Fund. That's the reason we are trying to build something for Cardano system as well. We want to bring some of that liquidity that exists in other chains onto Cardano and vice versa. We know Cardano is quite active in the NFT liquidity side of things, so it would be good for us to be able to bring some of that CNFTs off Cardano onto EVM and then take some of the EVM NFT liquidity back into Cardano. So by doing that, we are actually building for Cardano because we're going to be able to bring a lot more users, a lot more liquidity, and a lot more functionality to the Cardano itself. That's why we say we're building for Cardano, but we have always positioned ourselves as a chain agnostic platform, and we will live on any chain that has the liquidity that we need. So
Right.
hopefully that answers your question. I will try WEM level. Okay, you should be able to go now. We'll try. Okay, that one seems to be on mute. Paribus enthusiast Sonipo, we'll try to connect you one more time. Seems to be a problem with Twitter's connection today. And then we will try Clovis Tevez as well. Let me approve that too. See which one of you guys connect. Whoever connects can go ahead and ask the question. For some reason, all I'm seeing is just a connecting thing going round and round. Are you guys, Wilson, Simon, are you guys seeing the same thing, or is it just my side?
Yeah, I think it's just on your side.
Okay, For some reason, nobody's connecting. Let's try the cinnamon. Okay, B Cinnamon, you should be able to ask a question now.
Hey, will the mainnet will be able to take loans through mobile?
Yeah, as long as you have MetaMask or some sort of wallet injected, then yes, it's mobile, reactive UI UX.
And what's Wilson's favorite video game?
My favorite video game, I would say, is Fallout. And a little bit post-apocalyptic, but yeah, it's my go-to.
Nice choice. And yours, Dennis?
Wow, Wilson actually answered. I didn't even hear him. What was his video game?
Fallout.
Oh,
Yeah,
Fallout.
Fallout.
Mine is Red Dead.
Oh man, Red Dead was the best ever. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I enjoy it. It finishes too soon. And actually, God of War is the other one for me.
Have you looked into more partnership with other dexes on Cardano, like Muesli Swap, for example?
So we're not looking into Cardano side partnerships just yet. We're waiting on that bridge, the two-way bridge. Once we have that bridge going for us, then yes, we're going to start focusing a bit more on Cardano related partnerships. But at the moment, because you can't bridge back and forth, it doesn't make a lot of sense to sink some time into that.
Is it going to be a bridge as we know it? Is that going to be the solution?
Yeah, so for the PBX tokens, at least, it would be just an ordinary bridge. You connect your wallet, whether it's on Cardano side or the EVM side, and just move your tokens across as you wish. For the NFT bridges, once we have the NFT side going out with the NFT collaterals, that would be a bit more of a different bridge, but in terms of how users interact with it, it should feel the same as a typical ordinary bridge.
Have you decided on a bridge that you are going to use?
Yeah, we have a few options actually. We have like two options I think at the moment. So whichever one is more reliable for us will be the official one, and then of course you could always use the other bridges that exist outside Paribus, and then just connect to Paribus once you're bridged through.
And sorry, last question about the Coinbase custody. Was that something that just happened, or did you approach them, or they approached you? Like how exactly that came about?
Yeah. So Manny asked the question as well a bit earlier. I think you were not there, so I'll just repeat. We did not ask them anything. They took it on themselves to add PBX token to their custody side. So yeah, it was all from Coinbase's side how that whole thing progressed.
Do you know why they decided to do that?
No idea. But I mean, we don't mind. Of course, Coinbase is Coinbase.
That's interesting. Okay.
Okay. I will try I'll try Paris Enthusiast one more time and Clovis Tez one more time as well. If it works, we'll connect. If not, then we'll end it here because I need to go eat. I'm gonna break my fast soon, and then you could ask your questions in our Telegram group and just tag one of us. We'll still be able to answer. Nope, it's still not connecting, unfortunately. Sorry, guys, but tag us in the group. I will be happy to answer your questions in the next hour. So unless we have anyone else that wants to ask anything, we'll just wrap this up here, and hopefully on the next Twitter space, we'll connect when the MVP is live, and then we can discuss